The light off. Oh, Kenny. Just, they're starting to roar. Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
This is fabulous.
It is. This makes it a tight paddle.
Absolutely. What's that?
I don't know.
So don't figure out what you're doing down here.
What? Yeah, me down here. Oh, we fly, mate.
Wait till he comes. It's starting. I wouldn't get too close, the tide's coming in. Hello everybody, welcome. We are in spooky heaven tonight. My name's Alan Robson, thanks for joining us. We do ghost hunts here, night owl ghost hunts no less. Behind the camera we've got Hollywood McShane. On the beach, you may be wondering what he's actually doing. He's dancing on the sand because we're at Terurfa, South Shields, Arborea, and this place is immense for 1,000 reasons. Just over there, probably 100 yards, we've got the long sands of South Shields. That is, of course, used to be where King Osric of Dara built his very first castle. Nobody's quite sure where, but we know it was just off the long sands. It was a place where the Vikings landed. It was a place where a Zeppelin came and bombed South Shields and used a machine gun to fire on people walking their dog on the sands. An amazing place. The home of the angelic upstarts, Olga from the Toy Dolls, Nick Fury, local MC, Catherine Cookson, Sarah Milligan, Chris Ramsey, and countless others. Stars all, Ginger from the Wild Hearts, Catherine Cookson, all from South Shields, and a guy who died in the Munich air disaster who used to play for Newcastle United. But you've got to come down here. There's stories in all directions, but this is a haunted beach. We're not very far away from Coleman's. Kenny, you can stop dancing now. I've done the gag. Oh, I should actually have sang.
Yeah, because you were in a play doing that, weren't you?
I absolutely did. We did the sand dance in a pantomime. We did all of that. However, we're not exactly where we were planning to start. So let's get down here because this beach is haunted. Now just look around. Light it up, Kenny, for everybody. This is... We are getting attacked by every kind of bug known to man down here. Sand flies. But the thing to remember about this particular area, and Tony, I would go down if I were you and just have a brief walk on the pebble beach that's here. The long beach is behind me. home of some old Roman barracks that belonged to the Tigress boatmen from Persia, Iran, no less. And it's down here, though. Now the tide's coming in, and this is raw and rampant.
That's full of seal, isn't it? Sitting on there, look.
Could be. Yeah, could be. Kenny's going for a walk. Now, this particular beach is haunted, and it's haunted by the souls of four witches called Crow. Tony, Kenny, I'm going to need your torch in a second. Kenny, head back this way just a second. I know it is. Now, you can see how wet it is because the tide is on its way. But on this beach, something horrible happened in the year 1666. Now, that was around the time, that was around the time that the great witch troubles were on. They were trying to exterminate, ethnically cleanse all of the heathen witches. Now, most of them weren't even witches. However, four witches, all by the name of Crow, four old ladies who just essentially did herbal medicine and that kind of thing. However, a number of children went missing in South Shields, because if you go about 200 yards that way, you're actually... Oh, did you hear that? What was that? That was like somebody slapping down a suitcase or something.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of... That wasn't a sea noise.
No, it wasn't. Is that not a seal? What is it? Oh, God.
It's getting wild here, mind.
What is that, though?
I've no idea. But let's tell the story of the...
You tell the story.
of the sisters Crow. You haven't got an arm for it, Kenny. But the sisters Crow, they were living quite happily. There's no proof that they had committed any kind of crime at all. However, because the children were going missing and they felt that they had to do something, they actually came down here to this heavy pebble beach. Gonna need your help in a second, Kenny. They brought them down to this beach and they took them into the tide. They walked them. Now, I would presume it wasn't as rocky as this, because look at how you wouldn't want to go in there under any excuse, would you? But they apparently walked down into the surf with all four witches, men holding them, 2 or 3 men holding each woman, doused their heads in the water and demanded that they confess and tell the truth about what happened to all these children. Well, the women had no idea what happened to the children. They had no idea at all. So they ended up just drowning them and letting them wash out to sea with the tide. However, all of the beach, all of the coastline here looks like this, like stone plateaus. Light them up for everybody at home. Lots of these stone plateaus. However, the very next day, when they came down to the beach, the 4 witches' bodies were never seen again. But all of a sudden, on the coast here, the 4 sisters were born. The 4 sisters Crow. Tony, here they are. Can you see them? 1, 2, 3, 4. They're now known as the 4 sisters. This is classed as a sacred site to anybody who believes in witchcraft. And there's the 4 sisters. Now, their ghosts are said to walk down here. They make noises. They attract your attention. Sometimes you see grey mist. And that's coming our way, isn't it, Kenny?
Coming our way.
I'd love to touch one of those stones, mate, but I don't think I'll be able to.
Mate, you can. Look at that first one.
Maybe.
As long as you're really like quick doing it, and then get out of the way.
Yeah, maybe. Just sometimes when you put your hand on, when you put your hand on things from times gone by, you can often feel the history. You reckon we can do this?
I think very carefully.
Easy does it.
There's a way. You're gonna have to time it.
I got wellies, so.
As long as you time it right. There you go. All right.
Yeah. Positive. Love and blessings. Love, blessings and respect. The Four Sisters. That was your idea, Kenny.
Yeah. Not the best idea I've had. Now I'm wet.
Oh, we get used to it.
Yeah, I know.
But this is a place that I think is absolutely amazing. Look at them, Kenny. Just light them up there. Beautiful things. And we've touched them now. We've touched the Four Sisters. The four Crow sisters killed before their time. And there they are. With a wild North Sea tide coming in. I would still like to know what that was though, Kenny.
The dragonfly I've seen ever. I've never seen a dragonfly that size.
And we think we've got a seal.
No, I don't know what that is, look.
Looks like it's looking though, doesn't it?
It's not moved though. It would have moved, wouldn't it? There's some weird noises here.
I'm getting that too. But you've got to really, when you come down here, if you are ghost hunting, look for, you've heard us talk about the darkness that moves. This isn't what you're looking for here. You're looking for a wisp of smoke almost, but four of them, and they always stay together. Oh, hang on, I got some in there, just up here.
I have never seen so many spiders, flies. Look at them all.
I know I've swallowed
Look at this.
a whole heap. Tony will have them around this camera as well.
They're coming in the camera as well.
Look at this.
All over the place. Non-stop.
But is this not one of the most beautiful places you've ever been? Do you not think?
It is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, if this was in Italy,
Yeah, if it was that warm, absolutely. What are you getting?
you're disorientated over all these attacking you.
Have a quick walk around and see, Kenny. What's Kenny got? What is it, Kenny? A fire. Now this beach is well known not just for having obviously the Four Sisters waiting to greet you, but you've also, there was a ship, a Roman ship who sank here in the 2nd century, and they were finding coins and all kinds of stuff. It's never been properly excavated because it's in the middle of all of this rough and tumble. There's another ship that went aground here, the Constance, and all of the passengers and crew were saved. But we're going to go back up onto the main headland now, because on the headland there's the ghost of a tiny child. We're heading in that direction now. Kenny! Let's head. We've got quite a few places to visit. And you see, some people believe that ancient runes and ancient witch rituals were written on some of the slabs here. Do you see how there's carvings in them? Don't know whether can you make that out on your camera?
If you can move your torch.
Right.
That's too bright.
Gotcha. There are on a few of them along here. Handprint, there's a handprint on one. And this sand flies get in your mouth. I've already swallowed enough to give me my protein for the day. Now, I just want to give a mention to a lady called Nisha, who runs a boarding house in South Shields. About a year ago, Nisha said to us that if ever we came to South Shields and we wanted to stop over, she runs a boarding house, Elmswood. Kenny and I have just been there and rang the doorbell, no answer. I tried to call her twice today to say we were coming down here, give her the heads up. So Nisha, we were thinking about you. She also goes on Robson's World a bit too. But we did go and see her, didn't we, Ken? So, but look at this, how amazing is this? Take one last final glimpse around. And I know you're hypnotised by the sisters. They say that one of the rocks has an eye that watches over people.
Yeah.
Can you see it? I don't know, where is it on that one?
I think that one. Look.
Oh yeah, that'll be it. They say that one of the rocks has an eye because the witches don't want...
Actually looks like a face, look at. That could be the eye, there's the nose,
Nose.
there's the mouth.
Yeah,
Look.
absolutely.
Like, you know, really like grotesque face.
Well, what they said about it is, and look at with the wildness of the surf crashing behind it, they say that the eye watches out to make sure that there's never any more injustice here
Right.
on Trow Quarry and Trow Quarry Rocks. Goodbye, sisters. We're on our way. Let's make our way up to our next site of adventure, because we've got a very, very different show tonight, but keep your eyes open. We've heard some things. That slapping noise that sounded like a suitcase.
Weird. Do you see that bird coming for us there?
No.
Oh,
Did you catch that on camera?
Yeah, a little bird just went, he comes and then just away again.
Wow.
Tiny little white bird. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I have the torch on it. Camera should have got it. Little white bird just comes out straight for us.
You're right about spiders, mind. There's thousands of them here.
Is that because of the water, the sea coming in, or?
I have no idea, mate. What was that?
Right in the eye. Shit. Sorry. Oh. That's not good.
Now there's all kinds of things. What we're going to do is just essentially follow the cliffs, and you can always look down. Look at this, that's just where we've been. There should be a big stone here. It's a triangular stone. There it is. At least you haven't got any flies here. Now look at this. Can you see the silver in it?
Oh, good, yeah. I've got loads of little flecks in.
Take your torch off it so that Tony can come across it. Now, can you see the silver on it, Tony?
Yeah, I can see sparkling.
Now,
Same with the ones down in the...
now look at again. Some people say it's graffiti. Some people say that it's an ancient rune.
Ah, right.
Nobody's quite sure, but to me, I think it's man-made because I think there's red paint and stuff on it here, and as soon as you get near, there's these bugs that bite.
Oh, they really do.
They're nasty. But what's the story here? And it's a good one. Now, they started saying along this path here that heads off into nowhere, really. And I mean, face it, if you're coming to walk your dog, you're not going to come this far over. Because this is, you know, you've got more cliffs over yonder. Don't know whether you can see them in Tony's camera there in the distance. But this track here, people say that they keep seeing a little girl skipping around. She's about 12 and she runs into the grass and then hides. And then she'll jump out, and people, when they are here during the day, you know, looking down at the beaches, they see the figure. Did you hear that?
Like a whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. Definitely.
It was just like a...
Just quickly going past.
Yeah. That was, because the wind's going in the other, the wind's blowing that way. Oh, that was strange, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? Just,
What's that on the hill?
I've no idea.
Do you see it right in the middle, like a little,
White.
like a white thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, we're heading that way. We might be able to work out what that was. But a ship foundered in the sea there. The ship was called the Constance Ellen. And the Constance Ellen had 30 people on board, and they all survived. So you think, well, can't be a ghost attached to that.
No.
Well, somebody then said, this is like 8 months after the Constance Ellen foundered and they got everybody off. It was believed that a 12-year-old girl called Alice stowed away on board the Constance Ellen because she wanted to escape because her parents were giving her a hard time, and she stowed away and she was never seen again. And it's believed that when the ship foundered, she lost her life. And they believe that that's who it is that runs along this path playing games on people. And if that wisp was her, that'd be amazing. But
That was weird. There was a whisper there.
yeah, no. But it was kind of like, almost like, catch me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then it was gone. I hope people can maybe listen back to it and catch that. You see the cliff we were talking about before? But we keep walking along this trail and it'll take us to our next bay, because these are all bays and each bay has a separate story. Oh, look, we're not very far. Look at this. That's the pier thing where we were the last time.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're heading, I think, in the right direction. Let's keep going. Tremendous.
Why is that rock there all marked and what?
Which one? Marked with what?
Look, it's got all lines on it.
It has.
And on the other
Can you
side-
get down to it without hurting yourself? Go and check it out.
We're getting a light signal from over there. Hello. They're doing three signals. Probably to where we go.
Is that not just the lighthouse, Tony?
It's not constantly doing it. Like the odd three.
Right. Gotcha. Hang on, see what Kenny comes up with. Now you can tell by the...
I have no idea why that's like that.
See the silver sparkling.
I can see lines across. I don't know whether you
Oh,
can.
yeah, I can. But I can with my eye.
No. It's weird, isn't it? But you can tell by the surf and how aggressive the waves are here. This was an area where people would set fire on top of a cliff and try. This is long before they had piers with lighthouses on them. And they would wreck ships here in the 14, 15 and early 1600s. And people would come down onto the beach and see what they could rob. They never called it robbing, they called it salvaging. What the hell was that? Did you hear that?
Like
Girl's voice. Young girl's voice. That's exactly what we're supposed to hear along that trail. Where is she? Alice Ross is the name of the girl. And the weird thing was that, and you know I haven't got much time for mediums, if I'm honest, but a medium came here just before the war, 1938, and she said that she carried out a seance next to that rock that we left far behind, that triangular rock that's just there in the distance. She carried out a seance around it, and the name Alice Ross is what they came up with. The weird thing was, that was in 1938. In 1947, what's what? It's because we're nowhere near the... Come on up, Kenny.
7 planes.
7 planes in the sky all at once. You never see that. That's bizarre. Can you manage?
Yeah, yeah. You turn your torch up and have a look up there. Look at all the planes. What is going on?
What was that?
What the hell?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Like a big massive thump.
But it was over here.
Yeah.
Wasn't down there. I hope...
Look at all these planes, look.
Are they not stars? Oh, no, that's a
look,
plane.
Look.
Yeah, I see it.
See it?
Oh, there's a one there.
One there.
2.
One there. 2. Look. Go over.
3.
Right. Further up here.
Right.
And then there was a... Oh, God, there was another one that was there. I counted 7 there. They
Amazing.
weren't stars, they were all planes. Oh, man. Look how fast that is.
It's travelling. Maybe he's heading to America. Come on, let's rock on. But the weird thing was, the medium carried out a seance over there at the triangular rock, and she came up with the name Annie Ross.
Right.
Sorry, Alice Ross, I beg your pardon. And the weird thing was that, 9 years later in 1947, after the war, somebody decided that they would go and see if an Alice Ross went missing in the town where the Constance Ellen had been before it came here to found her.
Right. Right.
And they found a 12-year-old girl was missing. So we've just heard a girl scream along this path.
Necromance.
Oh, that's a hell of a call.
Necromance.
That's a hell of a shout.
Got to.
Yes. Now I haven't got the amplifier with me tonight, but we'll manage without it.
I'm convinced that lighthouse is flashing us.
It is, I think.
Tony
I think
said
it is,
that
you know.
too.
I think it is.
It's because we've got the
Because this torch is bright and I'm going to be thinking, what? Look at it, man. It's this wheel. Look. It doesn't normally do that, like.
Come on. Alice. Alice. Are you there, Alice? Talk to me. The necromancer we can't hardly hear for the roar of the...
If you put it on your mic,
It's on.
pick it up.
It's on.
Yeah, people will pick it up.
Looking for Alice. Is Alice there? Are you there, Alice? Alice Ross. Alice. Come on, Alice. Where are you? Come on.
Great North Dog Walk, you know.
Yeah, and the Great North Run finishes just over there.
Yeah, 40,000 dogs. Great North Dog Walk.
And yet late at night it's anybody's. Alice. Yeah. Now this particular path is called Hawker's Path.
That's nasty. That sounded like.
Did. Talk to us. If you're anywhere around us, let yourself be known. Come on, talk to us. Alice. Alice.
That was definitely Alice.
We got an Alice. Are you with us, Alice? Alice. Blood. Look at that point.
Why do you feel intimidated here?
Because you're in between cliffs and the sea and there's nowhere to go. And if somebody wanted to come for you, they'd get you here.
You've got no chance, have you? You've got nowhere to run.
No,
You've got to run to see where you're going to die.
absolutely. Is there a way through here? Must be. Yes, there is.
I think it goes off.
I think the coast goes out and then around, and then we got a couple of other bays. That's the same bay, isn't it? That's Trail Rocks.
That's still flashing us, isn't it?
Look at this, amazing. But how many people knew there was witch stones? 4 of them, the 4 sisters.
I never had a clue. I never had a clue that they were here. We find out stuff all the time though, don't we?
And all you've got to do is look.
Yeah, you look for it and you find it, and you know, no one else knows these things. We should. There should be somewhere where a book's written, like on the northeast, of all the things that you can go and see.
Well, they do that, but they say Gateshead Angel,
Exactly, they don't.
Gray's Monument.
Not things like this, though.
No, not at all.
X marks the spot. Look.
Yeah, wonder what happened there.
Wonder.
Wonder what happened there. Look at that. Massive outcrop. Let's get over. There's a fence there for a purpose. We'd stay behind the fences.
I think it's probably dangerous to get up there, like, and, you know.
Yeah, I would think so, maybe. but we'll look anyway. Cliff edge, probably.
Are we stuck in here, out the way? Let them get past.
No, I think we'll just watch on this side. Yeah, no it's a bother. You're seeing massive cliffs though that you normally wouldn't see, but this will just take you along to the next bay, all being well. And one of the bays that I'm taking you to is particularly haunted. But I was just surprised that you've got a bay back there with witch spirit,
Yeah.
and then you've got a child ghost on the headland.
Yeah. Crazy,
And that's before before you're even starting. And then it's dangerous to cross this barrier. Yeah, well, people have gone off the cliffs here, so you've got to be a bit careful. Watch the puddle, Kenny, with your soggy trainers. It was very brave of you to go in, but if you're going to be in a place like that, you've got to do it, haven't you? Just if you are coming down here to do it yourself, just be careful.
1930 to 2000. 70-year-old.
Douglas Layton, bless him, 2000.
Yeah.
Love to him. Just makes you wonder just how much is in this area.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it though?
Because it does go on right the way around the coast.
Oh yeah.
Stories in all directions.
See a little map there of Great Britain. This will be a little part of the outside of it, won't it?
Absolutely. It's a bit you probably would ignore because you'll stick to South Shields Centre really, I think.
Yeah.
Now there's another beach just down here. It's called Graham's Sands. Now, when Johnny Cash came to do a gig at Bent's Park in 1987, he came down to Graham's Sand. Graham was named after a merchant, apparently, called John Graham. Nobody's really sure. But did you know that out of all of the ports in Britain, what port lost more sailors in World War II? Now you've got Glasgow,
You would have
Liverpool,
you would have thought.
Newcastle, Sunderland, Teesside,
Yeah.
Hull,
Yeah.
London.
Yeah, London even, yeah.
Which port lost the most
Well,
sailors?
you would have thought down south, but probably not. It probably
South
isn't.
Shields.
There you go.
Just shows you the strength and the courage. Oh, there's another plane, Kenny.
God,
But we're heading to a place that's actually said to have a celebrity ghost.
right?
And there's not many we come across celebrity ghosts. But up this track,
Johnny Cash and South Shields. How mad
well,
is that?
Muhammad Ali came
I know,
too,
I
didn't
know.
he? He got his marriage blessed at a mosque here.
That's right. Walk the line.
Ring of Fire.
There you go.
I actually had a
That would be the marriage one.
maybe. Well, weirdly, I had a homemade chili sauce today. I've got a feeling I might be getting a Ring of Fire a little bit later on. I saw your name actually
My name?
today at a baker's. I saw your name written on a loaf of bread.
Did you?
I know. Look at it, how close it is over the water. No, it's a plane.
Plane?
It's turning around to land at Newcastle Airport because that's what they do.
How did you see my name on a loaf of bread?
Well, it wasn't your name after all. It just said thick cut, but I thought it was. I thought it was your name.
Look at that snail. You see the snail?
That's a corker. Take your light off it, Kenny. we're heading to the top of this rise where there's, if it's true, and you never know about these things, we always say, all together now, discount 95% and look for the magical 5. But at the top of this rise, apparently, is the ghost of a war hero. But I mean, a war hero that's so well known here in South Shields, there's a statue of him.
Right. In South Shields?
In South Shields.
Whereabouts?
Amazing. Nowhere near where we are, I can tell you that. But in South Shields there's a statue of this man, and he's not alone. He's got a donkey. His name is John Simpson Kirkpatrick.
Ah, right.
He was known as the Donkey Man,
Right.
and he fought in Turkey at a place called Gallipoli.
Yeah, we've
Just-
seen this before. Yeah,
We've mentioned him before on other shows,
yeah.
and it was essentially a massacre of our people.
Right.
The Australians and the Allies were shot. Oh, look at this, look at this. Let's see how much we can light it up, Kenny. Boom, boom.
Without going over.
Yeah, we're getting away from the sea, but there's the sea there.
Yeah.
So we're just going round the headland, hopefully coming back to our next bay. Yes, we're on the right track, I think. Yes. It's not so much confidence than optimism at this point. Right, we've reached the top of the rise, so it's here. Now if you look over there you can see South Shields in its glory,
Yeah.
all the lights of Shields in the distance, and where the two tracks meet, here they are. There's one comes along here, and there's the other one coming in, do you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was said that after the battle in Crimea, where John Simpson Kirkpatrick rescued 300 people, over 300, with his donkey, and his donkey ended up getting shot and he was picked off by a sniper. What they say was that his family came down to the beach here to throw a garland into the sea because they knew that it was an amazing achievement. It would cost him his life, but he saved all of those people at a time. This is before the Great War, so the number of people that they lost at that time was shocking. It would be eclipsed in World War I, but at that time it was shocking. And they say that they decided they would have a walk along the cliffs on a brisk morning, and they walked along the cliffs, put the garland in the sea, and when they came here to where the two paths meet, there's one track up there. Come on, show yourself, John, if you're here. They saw John Simpson Kirkpatrick just striding down the path, and everybody kind of swore, and they went, "John, you're not dead, John." And he disappeared. And that's what happened at these crossroads here. Let's get to our next cove. Hopefully won't be too far along here. If you keep walking, you end up at the grotto, you know. Marston Grotto. This has turned into plane spotters, Kenny man. Who? It is an awful lot, but people can afford holidays again, obviously. Lucky beggars. Right. Let's keep going to our next beach. Don't know about you, but I think this got an edge to it, this place.
It has, hasn't it?
Just got a little something. Especially when we, oh, do you hear that?
Yeah.
Got another girl's scream. I was at John's donkey. No, it sounded like a girl. I don't know how you get down to the beach, but we've got to get down. There's one that has steps down,
Really?
I'm told. And if we keep walking along the cliffs, we'll come to it.
Oh, there's a beach.
Well, it's there, isn't it?
Yeah,
I hope not. I know the coast kind of zigs and zags. Looks like we're going inland though. Don't want to hit the cliff just on the chance. This is what happens when you do most of your planning on Google Earth.
Nice.
Did you hear that? Did you get that, Tony?
No, what was that?
Ah,
Do you know what's a bit worrying?
You've got a mic on though.
We just seen a lad walk down here,
yeah. Where from?
up from here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He must have walked along here. Let's hope he hasn't, like,
Why would you?
well,
How'd you get down to the beach? What's your puddle, Kenny? As for me, I could just plodge through it.
there's definitely a noise there.
Damn.
And this is in the middle of, like, nowhere now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Now that looks like a bay, doesn't it?
It does.
Just how do you get down to it? It coils around here. Coins.
You heard that before, Tony? Coins round the corner. Proper Joey sniffing out.
It looks like it's going to be steep.
I know.
Very.
It's got a fence around it there, you can't get on.
No, you can't. No. There.
Maybe we should go back down and try round the coast.
Yeah.
Shall we do that?
There's just going into.
It looks like we're walking into...
We couldn't get round where we've just been because there was a stop point there. There's rocks. So it might be here if there was a way down.
Well, apparently the beach that we're looking for...
Maybe when it has to be tides out, you can get round.
Well, Manhaven Beach says there's steps to take you all the way down.
Well, there might if you go round. Just that you can see
How
the
far
fence.
do you go?
Might be steps round there.
Well, I'm going to...
As far as you can see, isn't it?
Let me sat-nav it and see how we can get there. It's a super spooky beach, apparently.
Yeah, maybe it's not that one.
I know that there's many. Well, even at Marsden, you know. Very. That's just cliff there, isn't it? Look at that. That's just sort of cliff all the way along.
It says that the beach that I'm looking for is 12 minutes that way.
That way, back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Walk south.
We've been.
No, it says walk south. South would be that way. Yeah. Now we're directly... Yeah, no, we are the... It says this is the way. Yeah, 12 minutes up here, so we're on the right track. Now, weirdly, Frenchman's Bay, that I was hoping to take us down to, is just here. This is it, big bait out of here, Frenchman's Bay. Let me tell you what that is all about too. We got all kinds of info on every bay along here, but this is the Hawker's track. Along here is where the highwayman John Drummond he started his highwayman career. He ended up getting hanged at Tyburn Gallows for shooting a man in the head when he was robbing a coach.
Is that one of your clues, friend?
French it is indeed. Frenchman's Bay though, in 1623 a French ship ran aground here and over 70 men died and their bodies were washed up on the beach, so they called it Frenchman's Bay. And it's thought that wreckers had enticed it onto the rocks.
Yeah, yeah.
But in fact, it was actually French smugglers trying to land booty on the beach just down there. Oh, I'm so tempted to go across, but it's not a good example to set crossing the Wear. So come on, let's put a pep on. Let's get to this other one because it's the main place we're going. 12 minutes along here, we've got to go round the headland. Now, Frenchman's Bay is just down there. If you get a chance to visit, if you can find a way onto it, because Frenchman's Bay, you know, it's called that because the French ship enticed onto the rocks, broke up, 70 dead, littering the beach with Frenchies. And years and years later, in the early 1800s, during the Napoleonic War, a Frenchman who was living in England became a fisherman to try and earn some living. He was married to a woman in Seaburn, which is kind of that way. Yeah. Now, oh yeah, this is better. Now, this French sailor was off Frenchman's Bay, just here, just off the coast, and he decided he was in a bark, which is a very shallow vessel, so you can get in quite close to the shore.
Yeah.
So he put the anchor of the bark out and he jumped overboard and waded to the shore because he wanted to catch some crabs and clams and lobsters and seafood. It was, and I know it sounds very posh and elegant now, but it was the poor man's food because it was free. Yeah. It was waiting there for you. Now, while he was on the beach, well, not even on the rocks really, you know, looking in rock pools and what have you, some locals spotted him, and he shouted bonjour to them, you know, not thinking anything of it, but Britain were at war with Napoleon's France at the time. Right. So they said, there's a Frenchman, he's trying to get on the coast, he's a spy. So they arrested, oh, what the hell was that? What was that? Something white just moved across. Did you have your camera pointing at it?
I did, yeah, my camera would have been that way.
I just saw something white go across there. That was cool. Oh, I want to see that again. Come on, where are you? And where did you go to? Oh, that was cool.
That song's in my head for some reason all day as well. Where did you go to, my lovely?
When you're alone in your bed. Yeah. Listen.
What is that?
Are you hearing screams?
I heard I thought I heard children before, but I don't know how.
Well, you see, this is where that 12-year-old's supposed to be, but this is the Hawker's Path, and it's really interesting because, weirdly, there's a war story attached to this. Now, you see, South Shields, that's the kind of the coastal road, the road that runs along. It goes up to Marsden Grotto and right away along the coast. Yeah. Back on the 2nd of October in 1941, 80 German planes came over from the Luftwaffe, 80 of them, and they spotted a bridge here and they thought, it's Newcastle. Right. So they started dropping bombs. By the time they'd finished, loads of houses were down, 68 people were killed. And you mentioned, I heard children. And again, Tony doesn't chip in with too many of them.
No, he doesn't.
Because he's concentrating on the camera, but Tony heard a child. We heard a child screaming before. Now, you think it could be Alice Ross, but she was 12. Is she likely to scream? But the most interesting one was that when the German planes came over, they tried to destroy as much of Newcastle, South Shields, as they possibly could. An absolute case of mistaken identity. And what makes it worse, out of the 68 people that died, 17 of them died just there. Literally those houses there. 17 died, and long after the bombing, when the ARP people were coming around, air raid precautions. It tended to be older people that weren't going to join up. They heard some screams from down here on this track. And when they sent somebody down, they found a 4-year-old girl covered in blood, sobbing her heart out and screaming. Now, when they walked further down, they saw a huge bomb hole, like a crater where a bomb had hit, and at the side of the crater was the little girl's mother who had been decapitated. Now, the 4-year-old that they rescued, it was said that she died in the 1990s. And from that day, they saw the ghost on this, on the...
A girl, like kid's voice.
It's coming from here.
And the more we tell the story,
Not a kid this far out, not miles.
There's no one anywhere near here.
Will not be out at this time of night.
Well, there's no one anywhere near here anyway, so look.
that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. So from 1990, it's almost like the woman died and she was a grown woman by then.
Yeah.
You know, because if you think about it, if you're 4 in 1941,
You see something like that though, that's going to bring you back here, isn't it?
and it sucks her back here to be with her mother.
Yeah.
Some people say that they've seen a 4-year-old girl holding the hand of a woman walking along here. It would be lovely to think that in some parallel universe there's something like that going on. Oh, really? Ah, blimey. Now, I know we're on a lost track, but we're about 6 or 7 minutes away from our next destination, where we can go down to hidden coves. There's more stories of blood and guts and murder and all kinds of things we've got to share with you. More importantly, great ghost stories right here on the outskirts of South Shields. Because the people in South Shields, you ask me time and time again, will you come back and will you tell us what's here? I just found a whole wave of stories in the various bays that exist along here. We got a lot more to tell you. How do they do it, Tony?
Well, if you're on Facebook, there's a link in the video description. Hit that, become a subscriber, and part 2 will be there. On YouTube, join the channel, and all your part 2s will be there, including this one.
So join up, it's less than £1 a week, and you get all the stuff that we do and all the stuff we've ever did. You get that in one massive encyclopedia of ghosty hunting from all over the place. So do that. We'll talk to you on the other side.
Oh, the car came prepared. Look at sunglasses and everything. About South Shields,
Glamorous.
you know.
But isn't it weird? This whole place has got stories attached to children, and all we've heard since then is kids.
Voices.
You do realise you'll kill yourself wearing them at this time of night, can you? You'll be straight off a cliff. Come on, kids, come out.
Well,
One of the supporters was asking about you, hoping that you were all right.
I have still got it a bit.
The supporter was like saying,
About like
"Should
four.
get his cough checked out for 70."
Yeah, I've been told that 2 times.
What's that with sunglasses on?
Come on, let's just pep it up so we can get there. The only bad thing about this is we got to walk back.
That's just it. I was thinking that, you know. I'm thinking this is a long way that we've walked. Never mind the Great North Road, I think we're doing it.
Ah, claggy puddles, be careful.
Oh, I can't see them with these on.
We'll take them off. You Nelly. But the Hawker's Track is what this was called. And it's interesting though that before that concrete road was built, this was one of the ways along the edge of the country. You follow the sea because then you couldn't get lost. But it made your journey like 3 times longer.
You can smell a sea, fresh sea air when you still can't.
No, absolutely. Hang on, let me check me sat nav, see how close we are.